Her best friend mistakenly sent me a video that wasn't meant for my eyes. I was expecting to see silly dancing and cocktails. Instead, those 15 seconds revealed why she'd really gone to Miami. It was supposed to be a normal Friday. The kind of Friday you look forward to all week, not because of any grand plans, but for the simple comfort of knowing the weekend is a blank canvas. For me, that canvas was meant to be painted with shades of lazy mornings, video games, and takeout with Jessica. My Jessica. But the universe, it seemed, had a different palette in mind for me. It was about to paint my world in strokes of betrayal and heartbreak, starting with a single, devastating video. If you've ever had that gut feeling that something is wrong, that the ground beneath you is about to give way, then you know what's coming. Stick with me, because you're about to witness the moment my entire life imploded. Our story, Jessica's and mine, wasn't a whirlwind romance from a movie. It was better. It was real. We met in college, two awkward souls finding a familiar rhythm in each other. I was studying engineering, my head buried in textbooks and complex equations. She was in marketing, a whirlwind of creativity and bright ideas. She was the color to my black and white world. We'd been together for 5 years, and those years had been a steady, beautiful climb. We'd navigated the treacherous waters of post-grad life, crappy first jobs, and even crappier apartments. We had built a life together, a comfortable, loving bubble that felt impenetrable. Just last month, we'd started seriously looking at houses. We spent our Sundays driving through quiet suburban streets, pointing out houses we liked, imagining where we'd put the couch, which room would be the nursery one day. It felt like the natural next step, the logical conclusion to a love story that had been written so carefully. I loved her. God, I loved her in a way that felt fundamental, like a law of physics. It was a given, an axiom. The sun rises in the east, and I love Jessica. So when she told me about the bachelorette party, I didn't think twice.
Babe, you're not going to believe it. Sarah's finally getting married, and she wants me to be her maid of honor.
She had bounced into the living room, her phone in her hand, her face lit up with that infectious excitement that always made me smile. Sarah was her best friend since childhood, a bond that was practically sisterhood. Of course, she was excited.
The bachelorette is in 2 weeks. It's a whole weekend thing in Miami. Just the girls. It's going to be wild.
A weekend. Miami. My heart did a little dip, the selfish part of me lamenting a weekend without her. But I pushed it down instantly. This was for Sarah. This was important. Miami, huh? That sounds amazing, Jess. You guys are going to have the best time. I pulled her onto my lap, kissing her. Just not too wild, okay? Leave some of that energy for when you get back. She laughed, the sound like wind chimes.
Don't worry about me. I'll be on my best behavior. Mostly. It's just me and Sarah and a couple of her cousins. We'll probably just drink fancy cocktails by the pool and complain about how old we're getting.
It all seemed so innocent, so normal. I helped her pack her bag the night before she left. She laid out her outfits on the bed, a collection of bright sundresses and swimsuits. I teased her about how much she was packing for 2 days. You never know, she'd insisted, throwing a sequin top into the suitcase. A girl's got to have options. The morning she left was a flurry of activity. I made her coffee just the way she liked it, a splash of oat milk, no sugar, and drove her to Sarah's house for the ride to the airport. Our goodbye at the curb was sweet and routine. She gave me a long, lingering kiss, her hand cupping my cheek.
I'm going to miss you so much.
I'll miss you more, I whispered back. Have an incredible time, and call me when you land, okay?
Of course, I love you.
I love you too. I watched her walk up the driveway and disappear into Sarah's house. I felt a pang of loneliness, but it was overshadowed by a genuine happiness for her. She deserved this, a fun weekend away with her best friend. I had no reason to feel anything but trust. Trust was the foundation of our 5 years together. It was the bedrock. That Friday unfolded slowly. I worked from home, the apartment eerily quiet without her. I missed the sound of her humming in the kitchen, the click of her keyboard from her home office setup. To distract myself, I ordered a pizza, a greasy, over-the-top meat lover's special she would have wrinkled her nose at, and settled in for a long night of Call of Duty with my buddy Chris. Around 8 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a picture from Jessica, a selfie of her and Sarah, both of them holding elaborate, colorful cocktails, their faces flushed with excitement. The caption read, "Miami baby, wish you were here." I smiled, my heart warming. I typed back, "Looks amazing. Have one for me. Don't let Sarah get you into too much trouble." A few hours later, another text, a short video clip of a crowded bar, neon lights flashing, the bass of the music so loud it distorted the audio. Jessica waved at the camera, her smile wide and genuine. "It's so loud. Love you," she mouthed over the noise. It was all so perfect, so exactly what I expected. I felt a sense of contentment wash over me. This was what a healthy relationship looked like. Trust, freedom, separate experiences that you could bring back to share with each other. I felt like the best boyfriend in the world, the secure, supportive partner that every woman wanted. I was a fool. The gaming session with Chris wrapped up around 1 a.m. I was tired, my eyes gritty from staring at the screen. I did my nightly routine, brushed my teeth, checked the locks on the doors, scrolled through my phone one last time before plugging it in. I was just about to turn off the light when the screen lit up with a new notification. A video message. From Sarah. That was odd. Sarah and I were friendly, but we never messaged each other directly. Why would she be sending me something? Maybe it was a group chat I'd forgotten about. I tapped the notification, my thumb hovering over the play button. A sense of unease, a tiny, inexplicable flicker of dread, started in my stomach. I dismissed it as late-night paranoia. I pressed play. The video was dark, shaky, clearly filmed by someone who was drunk. It wasn't a bar. It was a hotel room. Expensive, by the looks of it. A half-empty bottle of champagne sat on a marble-topped table next to a bucket of melting ice. Clothes were strewn over a chair. The background noise wasn't the generic thumping of a club. It was a specific song, something sultry and slow. Sarah was giggling behind the camera. Her voice was slurred.
Oh my god, you guys are disgusting. Get a room. Oh, wait.
The camera panned clumsily to the right. And there, on the king-sized bed, was Jessica. My Jessica. She wasn't with Sarah or her cousins. She was with a man I'd never seen before. He was tall, with dark hair, and he was leaning over her, his hands tangled in her hair. She wasn't pushing him away. Her head was tilted back, her eyes closed, a smile of pure ecstasy on her face. Her hands were on his chest, her fingers tracing the muscles beneath his shirt. The camera zoomed in, unsteadily. I could see her face clearly. My girlfriend. The woman I was going to buy a house with. The woman I was going to marry. And then, the man leaned down and kissed her. It wasn't a playful peck. It was a deep, passionate kiss, the kind you only share with someone you're intimate with. And Jessica kissed him back. A wave of nausea crashed over me so violently I had to grip the edge of my nightstand. The world tilted on its axis. My breath caught in my throat. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. There was only a roaring in my ears, the sound of my own heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I fumbled with the phone, my fingers trembling, and replayed the video. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was hallucinating, overtired from the week. But the second viewing was even more damning. The image was there, undeniable, burned onto the screen and into my brain. Then I heard Sarah's voice again, a cruel, drunken cackle just before the video ended.
Whoops, sent that to the wrong person.
The video stopped. The screen went black, reflecting my own horrified face. Wrong person. She hadn't just sent it to me by accident. She had meant to send it to someone else, to gloat, to share in this secret. The realization was a second punch to the gut. This wasn't a spontaneous mistake. This was a calculated deception. The bachelorette party was a lie. The selfies, the bar videos, it was all a carefully constructed stage play designed to keep me in the dark. My mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible. I stumbled out of bed and into the living room, the phone clutched in my hand like a live grenade. I sank onto the couch, the pizza box on the coffee table, a mocking reminder of my naive, happy evening. I opened the video again, and again, and again. Each time I hoped the image would change, that my brain would correct this horrific error. But it never did. There she was, kissing him. The first emotion was pure shock, a cold, numbing disbelief. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. You see it happening, but your mind can't fully process the reality of the impact. Then came the pain. A physical, searing pain that started in my chest and radiated through my entire body. It felt like I had been stabbed. Betrayal is a blade, and it had been plunged right into my heart, twisted by the person I trusted most in the world. And then came the rage. A white-hot, blinding fury. Rage at her, for her lies, for her betrayal. Rage at him, this faceless stranger who had invaded my life. Rage at Sarah, for her complicity, for her cruel, drunken mistake. And rage at myself, for being so stupid, so blind, so trusting. How could I not have seen this? Were there signs? Red flags I had blissfully ignored? My entire 5-year relationship replayed in my mind, but now it was tainted, every memory suspect. Every late night she worked, every time her phone was face down on the table, every vague answer to a simple question, it all took on a sinister new meaning. I felt a desperate urge to do something, to smash something, to scream. I wanted to call her, to scream at her down the phone until my voice was raw. But what would that accomplish? She was in a hotel room in Miami with another man. She wouldn't answer. And even if she did, what would she say? More lies? No. I couldn't be ruled by rage. I needed to be smart. My engineering brain, the part of me that dealt with logic and evidence, kicked in, battling against the emotional storm. I saved the video. I backed it up to my cloud storage, to my laptop, sending a copy to my private email. Evidence. I had evidence. Sleep was an impossibility. The night stretched on, an eternity of torment. I paced the apartment, from the living room to the kitchen, the video playing on a loop in my head. I looked at the pictures of us on the mantelpiece, a goofy selfie from a hiking trip, a formal photo from her cousin's wedding. They were relics from a different life, a life that had been a lie. I took them all down, one by one, and placed them in a drawer, unable to stand the sight of her smiling face. Around 4 a.m., exhausted but wired, I sat down at my computer. My mind was a chaotic mess, but one thought was crystal clear. I needed to know everything. Who was he? How long had this been going on? The bachelorette party was the cover, but this felt bigger than a one-night mistake. This felt like a double life. I started where any modern detective would. Social media. I pulled up Jessica's profile. It was exactly as I expected. Her latest post was the same selfie she'd sent me, with a caption about the best girls' trip ever, and a dozen hashtags. Chick Miami, Bachelorette, Girls' Weekend, Besties. It was a masterpiece of deception. I scrolled through the comments. They were all from friends and family, full of "have fun" and "you look gorgeous." It made my stomach churn. Then I went to Sarah's profile. It was public. I scrolled through her recent posts, my heart pounding. And there it was. A picture posted 3 hours ago. Her, Jessica, and 2 other girls I didn't recognize, all clinking champagne glasses. The location tag? Ember Lounge, Miami. A quick Google search showed it was a high-end rooftop bar. But something was off. In the background, reflected in a mirrored wall behind them, I could see the faint outline of a man sitting at their table. He was leaning in, talking to Jessica. It was blurry, but the build, the dark hair, it looked like him. My fingers flew across the keyboard. I started going through Sarah's friends list, looking for anyone who might have been tagged at the same location. It was a long shot, but I was desperate. I clicked on photo after photo, my eyes scanning for a familiar face. And then I found it. A guy named Will. His profile was public too. His most recent picture, posted just yesterday, was a shot of a plane ticket. Destination, Miami. My blood ran cold. I scrolled down his feed. A picture from 2 weeks ago. Him at a bar, a cocktail in his hand. And in the background, out of focus but undeniably her, was Jessica. A picture from a month ago, a group shot at a concert. Will was in the front, and tucked away in the back, her arm linked with his, was Jessica. It was like peeling back the layers of a rotten onion. This wasn't new. This wasn't a mistake. This had been going on for weeks, maybe longer. The lies, the secrets, the sheer audacity of it all was breathtaking. She had been living a complete double life, and I had been the clueless, trusting fool playing the part of the devoted boyfriend. The final nail in the coffin was a photo from 6 weeks ago. It was a picture of Will, smiling at the camera, sitting on a park bench. It was a beautiful shot, the lighting perfect. The caption read, "Lazy Sundays with my favorite photographer." The photographer wasn't tagged, but I recognized the park. It was the one near our apartment, the one where I had taken Jessica on one of our first dates. And I recognized the photography style, the slightly off-center framing, the focus on the eyes. It was how Jessica always took pictures. I felt the air leave my lungs. It was over. Any lingering hope, any tiny pathetic voice in the back of my head that tried to make excuses for her, was silenced. This was a sustained, calculated affair. The bachelorette party was just the latest, most elaborate lie in a long string of them. Just as the sun began to stream through the blinds, casting long shadows across the living room, my phone buzzed. A new message. It was from Jessica.
Good morning, handsome. I'm so hungover, lol. We had way too much fun last night. Thinking of you. Miss you.
I stared at the message, the cheerful words, a stark, sickening contrast to the reality I now knew. The casual lol. The effortless lie. My fingers trembled as I typed a reply. My rage wanted me to unleash hell, to send her the video and the screenshots and watch her world burn. But Chris's voice, my logical friend, echoed in my head. Be smart. Don't just lash out. I took a deep breath, my heart a cold, heavy stone in my chest. I had to play this carefully. I had to hear the lies from her own mouth. Morning, I typed back. Sounds like you had a blast. Get some rest. Talk later. It was the hardest message I've ever had to write. Every letter was a betrayal of my own pain, but I knew I had to see this through to the end. I had to let her walk into the trap she herself had set. The curtain had been pulled back, and I was now a spectator to the final act of her grand deception. And I would be ready when she came home. Oh, I would be ready. The question is, what would you have done? Would you have exploded right then and there, or would you have played the long game like me? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious. The hours that followed were a blur of numb activity. I couldn't sit still. The apartment, once our shared sanctuary, now felt like a prison cell, each object a testament to a life that was a lie. I made coffee, I didn't drink. I opened my laptop to work but stared blankly at the screen. The only thing that felt real was the cold, hard knot of betrayal in my gut and the video on my phone, a digital ghost I couldn't exorcise. I needed to talk to someone. I couldn't carry this alone. My first instinct was to call my mom, but I couldn't bring myself to say the words out loud to her, to taint her image of the perfect girl I had brought home for Thanksgiving last year. There was only one person who could handle the raw, unfiltered truth. Chris. I called him. He picked up on the second ring, his voice cheerful.
Dude, what's up? Recovering from that epic gaming session?
Chris, I said, my voice cracking on his name. I need you to come over. Something's happened. The levity in his voice vanished instantly.
Alex, what is it? You sound terrible. I'm on my way.
He was there in 20 minutes, a worried look on his face. I let him in without a word and just handed him my phone, the video queued up. I watched his face as he played it. His expression shifted from confusion to disbelief, and then hardened into a look of pure fury I had rarely seen on my easygoing friend. He played it a second time, then looked up at me, his eyes blazing.
That absolute... Alex, I'm so sorry. What the hell is this?
She said she was at a bachelorette party for Sarah in Miami, I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. It was the only way I could get the words out without breaking down. Sarah sent me that video last night, by accident. I made air quotes with my fingers, the gesture feeling pathetic and childish. Chris let out a low whistle, shaking his head.
Unbelievable. Not just cheating, but creating a whole fake alibi with her best friend? That's next level sociopathic. What are you going to do?
I don't know, I admitted, sinking onto the couch. A part of me wants to carpet bomb her phone with every curse word known to man. Another part wants to just pack a bag and disappear.
Don't disappear. And don't just rage text her. You're an engineer, man. Be methodical. You have the evidence. This video is the smoking gun. But is it the whole story?
That's when I showed him everything else. The social media deep dive, the reflected man in the mirror, the discovery of Will's profile, the plane ticket, the photos stretching back for months. With each new piece of evidence I laid out, Chris grew quieter, his anger simmering into a cold, calculated resolve.
So this wasn't a drunken mistake in Miami. This is a whole-ass other boyfriend.
It seems so, I said, the words tasting like ash. She built this entire narrative, this bachelorette party, just so she could go on a weekend trip with him. And Sarah was her accomplice.
Okay. So here's what you do. You don't say another word to her. You let her play out her little vacation. You have all the power here, Alex. She has no idea that you know. Every cheerful text she sends you is just digging her own grave deeper.
He was right. The thought of confronting her on the phone felt unsatisfying. A remote detonation wouldn't do justice to the scale of this betrayal. I needed to see her face when the carefully constructed walls of her fantasy world came crashing down.
When is she due back?
Sunday night, I said.
Perfect. You have all of Saturday to get your head straight and prepare. This isn't just a breakup anymore, man. This is an eviction. You guys live together. You need to untangle your lives, and you need to do it from a position of strength, not as the hysterical, heartbroken boyfriend. You are the prosecutor, and you have an airtight case.
His words, as harsh as they were a lifeline. They gave me a purpose beyond just wallowing in my own misery. He was right. This was a strategic operation now. Operation Untangle. Chris stayed for most of the day. We didn't talk much about it after that initial planning session. We just existed in the space together. He ordered food. He put on some stupid action movie, and the background noise of explosions and cheesy one-liners was a welcome distraction from the silent screams in my own head. His presence was a quiet, solid anchor in the middle of my hurricane. That afternoon, my phone buzzed again. Another text from Jessica. A picture of her feet in the sand, the ocean stretching out before her. Finally, some beach time. It's so beautiful here. Thinking of you always. I showed the phone to Chris. He just shook his head slowly, a look of pity and disgust on his face.
The audacity is just stunning. She's not even a good liar. She's just confident you're too stupid to ever find out.
He was right. Her confidence was the ultimate insult. She didn't just betray my trust. She had absolutely no respect for my intelligence. I spent the rest of Saturday in a strange state of calm. The initial shockwave of pain and anger had subsided, leaving behind a cold, desolate landscape. I was in the eye of the storm. I knew the hurricane would return when she walked through that door, but for now, there was only a chilling clarity. Following Chris's advice, I began the grim task of separating our lives. I went through the apartment, room by room, with a roll of black trash bags. I started with her closet. Her clothes, the ones I had complimented, the ones she had worn on our dates, now seemed like costumes from a play. I systematically took them off the hangers and put them in the bags. Her shoes, her ridiculous collection of handbags, her jewelry box. Into the bags they went. I moved to the bathroom. Her dozens of skincare products, her makeup, her favorite scented candles. Bagged. It was a methodical, emotionless process. I felt like a robot executing a program. Detach. Bag. Seal. The hardest part was the living room, our shared space. I took down the rest of our photos. I packed away the little trinkets we'd collected on trips, the stupid souvenirs that had once seemed so meaningful. I found the framed print she'd bought me for our 3rd anniversary, a map of the stars on the night we first met. I left it on top of one of the trash bags. By Saturday evening, her entire existence in the apartment had been consolidated into a neat, funereal row of black plastic bags by the front door. The place looked sterile, empty, like it had been stripped back to the studs. It no longer felt like our home. It just felt like my apartment. I ordered another pizza, this time a plain cheese. I didn't have the stomach for anything more. I sat on the floor, my back against the couch, and ate a single slice before giving up. I was preparing for battle, but I had no appetite. Sunday was the longest day of my life. I tracked her flight online, a little red plane icon making its slow journey across the country, carrying the woman who had shattered my world back to me. Each mile it traveled closer, the knot in my stomach tightened. I rehearsed the confrontation in my head 100 times. What would I say first? Should I be angry? Cold? Should I let her talk, let her lie before I dropped the bomb? I decided on the latter. I would give her all the rope she needed to hang herself. Her flight was due to land at 8:30 p.m. She texted me around 9 sighing.
Landed. Grabbing my bag now. Sarah's mom is giving us a ride. Should be home in about an hour. Can't wait to see you. XOXO.
Sarah's mom. Another layer to the lie. Another innocent person unknowingly roped into her deception. The final hour was excruciating. I sat in the darkened living room, the only light coming from the streetlights outside. I didn't turn on any lamps. I wanted her to walk into the quiet and the dark. I wanted her to feel that something was wrong from the moment she stepped through the door. At 10:15 p.m., I heard the key in the lock. My heart started hammering against my ribs again, a frantic, trapped rhythm. This was it, the final act. The door swung open, and she stepped inside, pulling her rolling suitcase behind her.
Babe, I'm home. Why is it so dark in here?
She fumbled for the light switch. The overhead light flickered on, flooding the room in a harsh, unforgiving glare. She froze. Her eyes darted around the room, taking in the stark emptiness. The bare walls. The vacant shelves. And then her gaze landed on the neat row of black trash bags by the door. Her suitcase. Her life. All packed up and ready to go. Confusion warred with fear on her face.
Alex? What is this? What's going on? Are you moving?
I stood up from the couch, stepping out of the shadows. I didn't say a word. I just looked at her, my expression a cold, blank mask.
Talk to me. You're scaring me. What's wrong?
Her voice had a tremor in it now. She was a good actress, I had to give her that. She was playing the part of the concerned, confused girlfriend to perfection. How was the bachelorette party? I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. Relief washed over her face, thinking this was the source of my strange mood. She thought I was just being clingy or insecure.
Oh, babe, is that what this is about? It was fun. It was, a bachelorette party. We drank a lot, danced a little. Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy? I repeated, taking a slow step towards her. Just you and the girls?
Yes, of course, just us girls. I told you. Me, Sarah, her cousins. We just hung out by the pool, went to a few nice dinners. I missed you the whole time.
She tried to reach for my hand, to bridge the distance between us. I took a step back, out of her reach. That's funny, I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm, because I got a slightly different version of events. A flicker of genuine panic entered her eyes.
What are you talking about? Who have you been talking to?
Oh, just a mutual friend, I said. You know Sarah. She can be so clumsy with her phone sometimes, especially when she's drunk. The color drained from her face. She knew. In that instant, she knew exactly what I was talking about. Her mask of innocence shattered, replaced by a look of pure, cornered terror.
I don't know what you mean.
Her denial was weak, pathetic. I pulled out my phone, my hand surprisingly steady. I opened my gallery and tapped on the video. I didn't say a word. I just turned the phone around and held it up for her to see. I pressed play. The sound of the sultry music filled the silent apartment. The image of the hotel room, the champagne, her and Will on the bed, kissing passionately. It all played out in front of her, a high-definition broadcast of her betrayal. She stared at the screen, her mouth hanging open, her skin turning a sickly shade of pale. She looked from the phone to my face and back again, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The video ended, plunging the phone into darkness. but the images were still hanging in the air between us, ugly and undeniable.
Alex,
She whispered, her voice a strangled plea.
it's it's not what it looks like.
I almost laughed. The cliché was so perfect, so utterly predictable. Not what it looks like? I finally exploded, my voice roaring to life, filled with all the pain and rage I had been suppressing for 2 days. It looks like you, Jessica, in a hotel room in Miami with another man. It looks like you kissing him. It looks like my entire life has been a goddamn lie. Tears started streaming down her face. They were real tears this time, I think. Not tears of remorse, but tears of getting caught.
It was a mistake. A stupid, drunken mistake. It meant nothing. Please, Alex, you have to believe me.
A mistake? I shot back, my voice laced with venom. Was it a mistake when you packed your bags for a fake bachelorette party? Was it a mistake when you and your best friend cooked up this whole elaborate lie? Was it a mistake when you sent me selfies from a bar while he was probably sitting right next to you? I took another step closer, my fury coiling in my stomach. And how long has this mistake been going on, Jessica? I pulled out my phone again, swiping through the screenshots I had taken from Will's profile. The concert, the bar, the park bench. I shoved the phone in her face. 1 month? 2? How long have you been laughing at me behind my back? She flinched, turning her head away from the evidence of her secret life. She had no more words, no more lies. She just stood there, sobbing, a pathetic, crumbling monument to deceit.
I don't know. I was going to tell you. I was confused.
Confused? I spat the word out. No, you weren't confused. You were selfish. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too. You wanted the stability and comfort of me and the thrill and excitement of him. You didn't love me. You loved the security I provided. The fight seemed to drain out of her. Her shoulders slumped in defeat. She looked at the trash bags, then back at me, a flicker of something new in her eyes. Anger. Defiance. The cornered animal was finally baring its teeth.
So what if I did? What did you expect? Life with you was so boring, so predictable. We were falling into this lame suburban routine, and I'm not ready for that.
The shift was jarring. The crying, apologetic victim was gone, replaced by a cold, resentful stranger.
Will sees me. He's spontaneous. He's fun. He makes me feel alive. Something I haven't felt with you in years.
Her words were meant to hurt, to shift the blame, to justify her actions by painting me as the villain, the boring, stable guy who was holding her back. And they did hurt. They were like tiny poison darts finding their mark. But they also did something else. They clarified everything. They burned away any last, lingering shred of love or pity I might have had for her. In that moment, I saw her for exactly what she was. And I was disgusted. "Get out," I said, my voice dropping to a low, cold command. She looked stunned, as if she actually thought her little outburst would win me over.
What?
"You heard me. Take your bags," I gestured to the pile of black plastic, "and get out of my apartment."
You can't be serious. Alex, we live here. This is my home too.
"No," I said, my voice unwavering. "This is my apartment. My name is on the lease. You are a guest who has overstayed her welcome. Your things are packed. Call Will. I'm sure he'd love to have you." Reality finally crashed down on her. The full consequences of her actions. She had nowhere to go. She had burned every bridge.
Please, Alex, don't do this. We can fix this. I love you.
The words, "I love you," coming from her lips were the most profane thing I had ever heard. "No, you don't," I said, my voice completely devoid of emotion. "I don't know what you feel, but it isn't love. Now get out before I call the cops and have you removed for trespassing." That was the final blow. She stared at me, her eyes wide with a mixture of hatred and disbelief. She saw that I was serious, that the man who had loved her unconditionally for 5 years was gone, replaced by this cold, hard stranger. Silently, she walked over to the bags. She grabbed her suitcase and 2 of the trash bags, her designer purse slung over her shoulder. She struggled to open the door with her hands full. She didn't look back at me, Just before she stepped out, she paused in the doorway.
You'll regret this.
No, I said, meeting her gaze one last time. The only thing I regret is ever meeting you. She flinched as if I had slapped her. Then she turned and walked out, pulling the door shut behind her with a soft click that echoed through the empty apartment like a gunshot. And then there was silence. I stood there in the middle of the living room for a long time, the silence pressing in on me. The adrenaline that had been coursing through my veins for the past 48 hours drained away, leaving me weak and hollow. I looked around the sterile apartment. It was clean. It was empty. It was mine. I walked over to the door and engaged the deadbolt. A sense of finality washed over me. It was done. The next few days were a strange kind of purgatory. I felt a profound sense of loss, a grief for the future I thought I was going to have. But underneath the pain, there was something else, a small, fragile seedling of relief. I was free. I had been living in a beautifully constructed lie, and now, as painful as it was, I was living in the truth. I sent one final text. Not to Jessica, but to Sarah. I scrolled through my phone until I found her number. My thumb hovered over the call button, but I decided against it. I didn't want to hear her voice, her excuses. I just typed out a simple 2-sentence message. Thanks for the video. It saved me from wasting any more of my life. I hit send and then immediately blocked her number. I blocked Jessica's number. I blocked Will's social media profile. I digitally amputated them from my life. A clean cut. The healing process is not a straight line. There are good days, where the sun feels a little warmer and the future feels like a possibility again. And there are bad days, where a song on the radio or a familiar scent can send me spiraling back into the memories, the anger, the what-ifs. But the good days are starting to outnumber the bad. Chris has been a rock, checking in on me, dragging me out of the apartment for beers and basketball, reminding me that one person's betrayal doesn't define my worth. It's a long road, but it's a road I'm walking forward on, not looking back. The first step was the hardest, choosing self-respect over a comfortable lie. And if you've ever had to make that choice, or if you're on that journey right now, hit that subscribe button. Let's walk this road together. Because we all deserve the truth. We all deserve better.